Whatever everyone, it's your boy Jinzo&Tonic. I have something very cool to share with you today. As you've seen in the title, basically tips, just some tips and tricks for new players. So if you're experienced, look away. No, I'm only joking. You're more than welcome to stay. Basically, this is just a short little video on some things that can help newer players to the format. A lot of people seem to be not a fan of Goat format, or they don't know where to start, and I just thought that I would make this video just giving some tips and tricks. A lot of them might seem very basic and obvious, but a lot of people might not know these. So you know what, drop a comment below if you felt that this video was helpful, if you're new or if you experienced, or if there's anything else that I should explain maybe in another video. Let me know. So let's get into it. Like I was saying, this video is basically some tips and tricks, some hints, some advice, whatever you want to call it, for beginner players for Goat format. I know when I joined Goat format, I played Goat format when Goat format was Goat format in 2005, and back then, I mean, it varied from country to country, but a lot of people had limitations on, money, so they couldn't get all the cards, so not everyone could have the best decks, and so the format was a whole lot different to it is now. However, we jumped to 2021, and everyone can basically get the cards because they've been reprinted a billion times, and anyone can make any deck, like, with some exceptions of some cards that weren't reprinted. Anyway, so back onto this. The main thing I wanted to focus on for a new player is a lot of the times they don't know two things. They don't know what deck to choose, and they don't know what decks are in the format. So that's one. And they tend to not know what the meta is and how to get better, and then they get discouraged, and then they end up leaving the game. Very similar to if they joined the current format, or the meta game for what Yu-Gi-Oh is now. And so I just wanted to start off by saying I'm mainly going to be looking at how you can improve just by choosing the correct decks and what you can do to get better. So I'm going to start off by saying that when I started getting back into Goat format, maybe 2016, 2017, I chose this deck. I found this deck online. This deck came first in 2005, so it's very outdated. But it was a lot of fun to play, and it just sparked my enjoyment of what the format really is, and personally what I felt that it was about. It had all the cards that I wanted to see, like Magical Cylinder and Pot of Greed and Delinquent Duo. It had some cards that I personally hadn't seen before, such as like DD Assailants. It had all the fusions. So I personally feel that if you are new to the game, and you just want to be casual, you just want to be fun, you just want to learn, you want to get some baby steps, I suggest playing on Edo Pro. You can find Edo Pro. I have a video, and I will put the link in the description, as well as please join my Discord below, guys. I have a Goat format Discord. If you have any questions, deck building, anything, you give me a shout. You give basically any of the admins in my server a shout. We're all there to help. We want to grow this community. It's such an amazing game. So my suggestion is choose a deck that you feel that you'll have the most fun with. I had the most fun with Goat Control, as I felt there were a lot of options. I have my favorite card, Jinzo. You could literally use Metamorphosis into getting any fusion. So I felt that Goat Control was a great starting point. However, if you just want to jump straight into the meta game, you're like, stuff it, I want to go straight into these goatformat.com tournaments because you want to see yourself into Worlds. The two decks I would recommend playing as a beginner would be a Chaos Warrior. So this is also, once again, a very outdated version. You can find a newer version of this deck on my channel. But the concept is basically still there. It's got these high beta monsters and a lot of traps, and it's a very, very basic deck to play. Personally, I don't believe it requires a lot of skill. However, you can top a lot of events with this deck. This deck has a very high win rate, and I believe that for a beginner, Chaos Warrior is the deck to choose. This and Chaos Turbo. You can also do Chaos Control, but let's just keep it for 2 decks today. Chaos Turbo. So this is my Chaos Turbo build. Also, guys, take these decks are on the channel, so feel free to just give a little search for them. But basically, I feel like these decks, this one, Chaos Warrior, and if you want to try Goat Control, I mean, the format was called Goat format for a reason. So if you want to try Goat Control, Chaos Turbo, Chaos Warrior, I feel that those are the best decks to start off if you really want to just like jump straight into the meta. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of debate with people. There's quite a few toxic people in the community that I've definitely dealt with, and they seem to discourage people that want to use armored dragons or Amazons or harpies. Guys, those are in Goat format. If you want to play harpies with your friends at your locals, do it. Have fun. Like, that's what it's all about. But if you want to jump straight into the meta, you want to compete, you want to try and win at your locals or at actual tournaments online, these are the decks to do so. So, this Chaos Warrior build, I've explained in other videos, so I'm not going to explain what it does, but my suggestion, on top of choosing one of the 3 decks that I've just mentioned, definitely try and find one build for each deck, and then just play them. Just play them. Because when you play online on Edo Pro or Dueling Book, that's generally what you're going to come up against. I have all the cards here to counter all the different the decks. So, if you're going up against Burn, you got Royal Decree. If you're going up against a mirror match of Chaos Turbo, you got Mind Control, things like that. So, what you need to do if you want to get better at the game, if you don't know where to start with decks, I suggest Goat Control, Chaos Turbo, or Chaos Warrior, like I've just mentioned. And the best way to understand the meta and the format is just playing with those decks. So just choose those 3 decks and just play. If you have any ruling questions, because some people are going to try and shark you and cheat you, there's a lot of bad people on Dueling Book, sadly. Like I said, my server below, drop us a question. We've got ruling experts in the server. We're all here to help the community grow, get better. We don't want people to get disheartened, discouraged playing this game, because it's a game that we all love and we want to grow. So yeah, the 2 takeouts for today's tip, very basic, is obviously practice makes perfect. The more you play, but a lot of people tend to jump around with decks. They go and play 10, 12, 14 decks, and that's fine. That's 100% okay. But if you're trying to get really good really quickly, I would suggest honing in on the 3 that I've just mentioned. You definitely learn the best decks very quickly, how they win, how they lose. And if you want to then, once you've felt that you've mastered those decks, and you know how to play them and how they operate, and you're competing at quite a good level, then jump onto other decks. Like, why not? But look, this is just my opinion. This is my advice. I wish I had someone telling me this when I started, but when I started, I had this fire burning, and I just played every single deck all day, every day, as much as I could play. I was just so in love, still very much in love with Goat format, and I definitely feel that if you have that vibe, if you have that time, do it. Play every single deck you can. But this is more if you want to get a little bit more skilled on a faster route. It's very simple. There's no hidden secrets. It all just comes down to choosing a deck you love and just sticking with it until you understand what your opponents are playing. And you might come against some decks that have ult win conditions and they beat you. Don't think that deck's better than yours. Chris Perovic, he mentioned in an interview once that how he likes to train and how he likes to practice, and what he likes to do is he has an Excel spreadsheet, and he puts the wins and losses against his deck, against other decks of the format. That's something you can do if you're very much into stats and figures. It's definitely recommended, because then you can actually just compare yourself, how you're doing, what's your win rate of the deck, what you're losing against, and then you can start, facing those matchups. But we'll talk about that for the next time. So guys, if you really like this video, give me a shout. It's the first time I'm doing something like this. I thought I could try and help the community where I could. And yeah, drop a like, drop a comment if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Cheers guys.